What happens in a woman's mind when you set boundaries? Guys, pay attention. Most men are terrified of setting boundaries with a woman. They think if they say no, she will leave. They think if they hold a standard, she will get angry and pull away. They think boundaries will push her away and make the relationship cold and difficult. So they avoid it. They stay quiet. They accept what they do not agree with. They give in when they should stand firm. All because they are afraid of losing her. And ironically, that fear, that constant giving in, that refusal to hold a line, is exactly what makes her lose respect, lose attraction, and eventually lose interest. Today, I want to show you exactly what happens inside a woman's mind the moment you set a real boundary, because it is not what most men expect. And once you understand it, you will never be afraid to hold your standard again. And before we get into it, if this is already making sense to you, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button right now. It costs you nothing, and it helps this reach more men who need to hear this today. And if you are serious about taking everything I teach on this channel to the next level, I have put together something special for you. It is called Magnetic Masculinity. It is a complete guide to becoming the kind of man women cannot ignore and cannot leave. The link is in the description. Go grab it right now before you watch another video. Now let us get into it. The first thing that happens in her mind when you set a boundary is this. She measures your value. Whether she knows it or not, the moment you say no, the moment you hold a line, the moment you refuse to bend just to keep the peace, her mind immediately starts recalibrating how she sees you, and it happens fast. It happens before she even has a conscious thought about it. Because here's what the brain does automatically. It assigns value based on scarcity and resistance. Things that push back have weight. Things that never push back feel hollow. When you agree with everything, when you accept everything, when you never hold a boundary, you feel like something she can have at any time in any quantity without any effort. And the mind does not assign high value to things like that. But the moment you say no, the moment you draw a line, her mind immediately registers something different about you. This man has a standard. This man knows what he will and will not accept. This man is not just here to please me. He is here because he chooses to be. And that shift in perception, from someone she can have easily to someone who has requirements, that shift raises your value in her mind instantly. She may not say it. She may not even fully realize it is happening. But it is happening. Every single time. The second thing that happens is she feels something she did not expect. Respect. Now, most men expect a woman to get angry when they set a boundary, and sometimes she does. In the moment, she might push back. She might go quiet. She might seem annoyed or distant. And that reaction right there is what scares most men into backing down. But here is what is happening underneath that reaction. Underneath the pushback, underneath the silence, underneath the annoyance, something deeper is forming. Respect. Because women respect men who respect themselves. It is that simple. When you hold a boundary, you are not just telling her what you will not accept. You are showing her how you see yourself. You are showing her that you have a sense of self-worth that does not change based on her mood or her reaction or her approval. And that is deeply attractive. Think about it from her perspective. She has met men who bend at the slightest pressure. Men who say yes to everything. Men who fold the moment she frowns. And somewhere inside, she knows those men do not truly respect themselves. And if a man does not respect himself, how can she fully respect him? But when you hold firm, when you say this is my boundary, and you stay there without drama, without anger, without begging her to understand, she feels something shift inside her. She sees a man who knows himself, a man who values himself. And that man, whether she admits it or not, earns her respect in a way that no amount of doing or giving ever could. The third thing that happens is she starts to feel something she rarely feels. Safety. This one surprises most men. They think boundaries make women feel restricted, controlled, pushed away. But the opposite is true. Real boundaries do not restrict women. They create a structure that makes them feel safe. Here is why. Women are deeply intuitive. They are reading you constantly, reading your energy, your consistency, your sense of self. And what they are looking for underneath all of that is one question. Can I trust this man to lead? Can I trust this man to hold things together when things get hard? Can I trust that this man knows who he is? When you have no boundaries, when you shift and bend and change based on whatever she wants in the moment, you are giving her an answer to that question. And the answer is no. Because a man who cannot hold a line with her cannot hold a line anywhere else either. A man who folds under her pressure will fold under any pressure. And that does not feel safe. That feels unstable. But a man who holds a boundary calmly and firmly, without crumbling, without exploding, without needing her to agree with him, that man feels solid. That man feels like someone she can lean on. That man feels like someone who will not collapse when life gets difficult. And that feeling of solidity, that feeling of someone being truly unshakable, that is one of the deepest forms of safety a woman can feel in a relationship. Boundaries do not push women away. They give women something real to hold on to. The fourth thing that happens is she starts to wonder if she might lose you. And this is where everything changes. Up until the moment you set a boundary, if you have been someone who always bends, always gives in, always chases, she has been operating from a position of complete comfort. She knows you are there. She knows you will stay. She knows that no matter what she does, you will adjust and accommodate and keep showing up. And that certainty, as comfortable as it feels, quietly kills attraction. Because you cannot be deeply attracted to something you are completely certain you will never lose. The element of possible loss is what makes things precious. What makes people fight to keep something. What wakes someone up to what they actually have. The moment you set a real boundary, the moment you show her there are things you will not accept, she suddenly feels something she has not felt before in this dynamic. Uncertainty. Not the toxic kind. Not the kind that comes from games or manipulation, but the healthy kind that comes from realizing this man has a limit. This man has a point where he will walk away. And I am not as certain of keeping him as I thought I was. That uncertainty is powerful. It makes her pay attention. It makes her show up differently. It makes her start investing in a way she was not investing before. Because suddenly she realizes that your presence is not guaranteed. And things we are not guaranteed to keep are the things we work hardest to hold on to. The fifth thing that happens is she decides what kind of relationship this will be. Every relationship has a frame, a structure, a dynamic that defines how both people show up. And that frame is always set early. Most of the time it is set by whoever holds their standard the longest. When you set boundaries early and hold them consistently, you are setting the frame of the relationship. You are telling her, this is who I am. This is what I accept. This is the standard of this connection. And she will either rise to meet that standard, or she will show you that she cannot. Either way you win. Because you either get a woman who respects the dynamic and shows up fully, or you find out early that she was never willing to, which saves you months or years of settling for less than you deserve. But when you have no boundaries, when you let her set the tone, when you accept whatever dynamic she creates because you are afraid to push back, you hand the frame of the relationship to her. And whatever she builds in that space will reflect her standards, not yours. And you will spend the whole relationship trying to fit into a dynamic you never agreed to and wondering why it never feels right. Set the frame early, hold it consistently, and let her show you whether she is the kind of woman who can meet a real man where he stands. Now here is what I want you to take away from everything I just shared. Setting boundaries is not about being cold. It is not about being controlling. It is not about punishing her or making her feel small. A real boundary is simply you knowing who you are, what you value, and what you will and will not accept. It is self-respect made visible. And when a woman sees that, when she sees a man who knows himself so clearly that he can hold a line without drama, without anger, without desperation, something happens in her mind that no amount of chasing or pleasing or doing could ever create. She sees a man worth staying for. A man worth respecting. A man worth being loyal to. Stop being afraid of her reaction. Her reaction in the moment is not the full story. The full story is what she feels about you after the moment passes. And what she feels after you hold a real boundary is almost always deeper respect than she felt before. Know your worth. Hold your line. And let her rise to meet you. Thank you so much for watching. If this opened your eyes today, please subscribe for more. Turn on the bell notification so you never miss an upload. Share this with a man who needs to hear this right now. Thanks for your time.